Good morning, everyone. I am Ireta Miwafamide, an occupational health specialist for SHE St. Vincent Hospital, Little Rock, Arkansas. Today, I'm going to be talking to you, the new maintenance workers, on lead-based paint exposure and how to avoid lead exposure when working. In this presentation, we are going to be looking at a brief introduction. We are going to be looking at common sources of lead-based paint and how you can be exposed to lead when working. We're also going to be looking at the route of exposure. We'll also be looking at the symptoms of lead poisoning and the health effect of lead exposure. We're also going to be looking at lead regulations. We'll also be looking at how to avoid lead-based paint when working. Introduction. What is lead-based paint? According to the federal standards, lead-based paint is any paint or surface coating that contain lead equal to or in excess of 1.0 mg per square centimeter or more than 0.5% by weight. In the 18th and 19th century, lead was added to paint in order to reduce corrosion and to promote durability. Many studies found that lead is a toxic metal and that it causes serious health effects. Therefore, the Consumer Product Safety Commission banned the use of lead in 1978 in residential homes, and approximately 38 million old houses contain lead-based paint. Sources of lead-based paint. As maintenance workers, there are some activities during renovation and repair that actually generate lead-contaminated dust. And this lead-contaminated dust is very harmful to your health. What are these activities? They are dry scraping, manual sanding, power sanding, heat gun, paint remover, drilling or cutting, power or pressure washing, and application of fresh new layers of paint. I know as maintenance workers, you are all familiar with these processes. What are the routes of exposure? Lead can enter into your body and cause serious health issues, primarily through inhalation and ingestion. There are some of these activities such as sanding, removal with heat gun, abrasive blasting, produces lead-contaminated dust that are released into the atmosphere. And inhalation is actually when you breathe in this lead-contaminated dust through the lungs. Ingestion is by swallowing lead-contaminated particles, food or drink. As maintenance workers, on the work site, there are many opportunities by which you can ingest lead. Hand contamination is very common, and this is when maintenance workers frequently wipe their faces with lead-contaminated dusted hands in the course of the day's work. Also, hand and mouth contact, as well as eating on site with contaminated hand, can lead to the injection of lead. Lack of hand washing facilities at the work site may make this an important contributor to overall exposure. Maintenance workers who eat with contaminated hands at coffee or lunch break and smoke with contaminated hands are actually inhaling and ingesting lead. So as maintenance workers, you should not eat, drink or smoke when you are working to avoid inhaling or ingesting lead. What are the symptoms of lead poisoning? Symptoms of lead poisoning are not always obvious, that is, they are non-specific, and they may be attributed to other causes. Specific symptoms that people with lead exposure sometimes complain of include headache, stomachache, nausea, tiredness, irritability, anemia, joint or muscle pain. But one sure way to determine lead poisoning is to take a blood lead level test. So when you're working as a maintenance worker and you observe some of these symptoms, you should see your medical doctor for treatment. Health effect of lead 1. Lead can affect both children and adults. Children under 6 are most at risk from lead exposure, and lead exposure in children can cause reduced intelligence and learning disabilities. It can cause behavioral problems, kidney damage, and delayed sexual maturation. Health effect of lead. In adults, large doses of lead exposure can cause memory deterioration, kidney disease, reduced ability to comprehend, infertility in men and women, while low doses of lead exposure can cause high blood pressure, and hypertension in adults. Also, pregnant women exposed to lead can also transfer this lead to their fetus, causing brain damage, miscarriage, low birth weight, and premature birth. Regulation 1. United States Environmental Protection Agency has some established requirements for workers, supervisors, and inspectors who actually deal with lead-based exposure in order to guide them. So they have some established accredited training and certification program. You maintenance workers here, you are actually undergoing the accredited training and certification program. Also, the United States Environmental Protection Agency has some established requirements for pre-renovation education. Pre-renovation education is usually done by the maintenance workers to train the occupant of the building or the homes that you're going to renovate. You have to tell them about the dangers of lead, and you're supposed to give them a pamphlet called Renovation Right. You can find this pamphlet on the website of Environmental Protection Agency. They also promulgated the Renovation, Repair and Painting Program Final Rule. This Renovation, Repair and Painting Final Rule was published April 22, 2008 under the authority of the Toxic Substance Control Act. Regulation 2. United States Department of Housing and Urban Development also have some regulations to guide maintenance workers, renovators, and painters that work with lead-based paints. They've established some actions in federally assisted target housing. Target houses are houses that are actually built before 1978. They've also established some federal grant programs. They also have some guidelines for lead-based paint evaluation and control. They've also established the lead safe housing rule. All these guidelines, we'll consider them in the following slide when we are talking about how to prevent lead exposure. Also, the United States Occupational Safety and Health Administration, they've also established some standards to protect workers while they work with lead-based paint building or homes. How to avoid lead exposure 1. As a maintenance worker, once you are given a job to renovate or repair a building, the first thing you should do is to determine if the job or the building involves lead-based paint. How do you do this? This is by going to look for the lead-based paint inspection report. You can also find out the age of the home or the building. The age of the home or the building can tell you a lot about whether lead-based paint is likely to be present. If it was built before 1978, it may have lead-based paint. So the older the home or the building, the greater the likelihood that lead is present in the paint and accumulated dust. Lead-based paints might be found either inside or outside the home and is most common in kitchens, bathrooms, windowsill, door frames, and railing. Also, the home or the building can be tested for lead, but this should be done by a certified lead-based paint inspector or certified paint risk assessor. Now, in case if you know that the building contains lead-based paint, you are supposed to protect yourself wearing some equipment called personal protective equipment. These are the things you wear to protect yourself from being exposed to lead contaminated dust. In order to protect your nose from inhaling the lead contaminated dust, you have to put on high efficiency particulate air respirator. It is on this diagram at the right side, the white one that looks like a cup, that is an high efficiency particulate air respirator. Also, in order to protect your whole body, you can put on disposable overall and long sleeve clothes. In order to protect your eyes and your face, you can put on goggle. You can see it on the diagram at the right side. You can put on face shields and masks. In order to protect your hands, you can put on your gloves. You can see it on the diagram. You can also put on overshoes and boots in order to protect your leg. And when you're walking, do not eat, do not drink or smoke. How to avoid lead exposure 2. The Renovation, Repair, Paint Rule. This was established by the United States Environmental Protection Agency. So this rule established work practice standards, and they include setting up practices, prohibited practices, cleanup practices and cleaning verification and record keeping. Setting up practices just means putting up a caution sign to warn the occupant of the home you're renovating or the building so that they will not come to your work area. This is basically done to protect non-workers or the occupant of the building from being exposed to lead contaminated dust. And also as a maintenance worker, you should contain the work area so that the dust will not leave the work area. And how can you contain the work area? For example, if you're doing a renovation work in a home, you should move the furnitures from the work area. And if there's some furnitures that you cannot move, you can use a plastic sheeting to cover the furniture so that the lead contaminated dust cannot settle on it. And also you should close the windows and the doors. You should also close the air vents and the heat vents so that lead contaminated dust cannot enter. Also, as maintenance workers, you should avoid prohibited work practices such as operating a heat gun on painted surfaces at a temperature above 1100 degrees Fahrenheit. Also, you should not carry out some these work practices such as putting a hot flame on painted surfaces. Also, whatever maintenance work practices you are doing, you should always attach your highly efficiency particulate air vacuum to any of your power tool or equipment. Now, how to avoid lead exposure? From this diagram, we can see this vertical containment. This is to prevent lead from leaving the work area. On the right diagram, we can see the plastic sheeting. This is to cover the ground, to cover the furniture so that the dust, the lead contaminated dust will not leave the work area. So after you have finished the day's job, as maintenance workers, you should wet the work area so that the dust will not spread outside the work area. And also, maintenance workers should use high efficiency particulate air vacuum to collect the dust and the air at the work area, because this high efficiency particulate air vacuum cleaner has been found to be very effective in collecting lead contaminated dust and other dirt at the work area. And also, after you have collected all the dust and the waste and everything, you should actually seal them in an impermeable bag or container so that this lead contaminated dust or other waste will not spread out to other areas, so to protect the non-workers and the occupant of the building, and also to protect yourself. So all these things are what you're supposed to do after you are done with each work every day. Now, also you should use a high efficiency air vacuum to vacuum all the personal equipment that you want, your disposable overall, your shoe, your goggle, so that you will not transfer this lead contaminated dust to other people. Also, you will not even take it home to your family. So you are supposed to use this vacuum to vacuum everything in order to remove the lead contaminated dust. And also, you're supposed to observe personal hygiene. From the picture, you can see a man washing his hand with soap. So once you have through with the day's job, you have cleaned your work area, the next thing you should do is to have your bath. You should have, after you have removed your personal protective equipment, you have disposed of the disposable overall, the disposable shoe. After you have disposed them, you should shower, wash your face, wash your hair, wash your hand in order to remove this lead contaminated dust. And also you should not put your work clothes with your normal clothes in order to avoid contaminating your work clothes. These are my references. Any question? No, thank you.